Hey guys, and welcome. You're Forrester here. Just want to give you a big welcome to the video. I'm going to be showing you today AFSD, or better yet AF supply and demand, and show you exactly kind of how the settings work in that particular EA. Is one of the best EAs that I've ever created, so I'm very happy to share it with you guys today. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, so we're here. So this is the platform as is. We've got assets such as GBP/USD, GBP/AUD, GBP CAD, GBP JPY, and GBP NZD. Now, as you guys can see, full of assets in terms of obviously its zones. So we've got loads of zones on the actual charts itself, and I'm going to be explaining to you exactly kind of how the settings work. Okay guys, so we're back. So the first thing I want to kind of put you guys' attention to is the actual magic number. Obviously you've got the lot sizes, which is self-explanatory above. You've got, I've currently got it set at 3.33. That's the preferred lot size that I like to use on this particular account size. Obviously a lot of accounts that I'll be using this particular EA will obviously be a smaller lot size. So just double click it, I should say, double click it to reveal the cursor. You can delete it and obviously type in the required lot size that you need for that particular asset. Okay, magic number, very simple. I've explained this in many different videos before. It's very simple. If you've got two assets that are the same, say for example you've got GBP/AUD and then you've got another GBP/AUD. Okay, this EA won't recognize the difference, so the only way to do that is to make sure that this actual magic number changes. So for example, this one's got 5.5545. You might want to change it to 5.55646, and then that will then differentiate the two, so you can have it on both assets on different time frames. Okay, so that's what the magic number's from. EA comment is simply the name that will display itself within your P&L, so you lets you know what's actually been traded and who it's been traded by, and it's obviously AF supply and demand. You've got the load indicator, very simple. All assets have an indicator on them. The indicator are these zones. Okay, so if I blow them up for you, then you guys can see a bit better. So let's just widen this one up. So as you guys can see, this huge purple rectangular zone, big orange zone at the bottom there, and then we've got tested. I'll explain this how these actually work now they come into play. The trend lines here, I've actually drawn them in myself. I like to know kind of what direction markets are heading in prior to using any type of robot or any type of system. I like to know the general trend direction. So it's something that is particularly used as well, so that will be pretty much uploaded to the group chat as well, so you have access to kind of the uploads on the updates of particular assets as well that we're trading. Okay, so let me get back into the actual settings of the EA. Okay, we're back. So next thing, so to make sure that your load indicator is set to true, you can obviously toggle it to false, but you don't want to do that. Use the preset colors. Preset colors have been used in terms of obviously the chart background colors. Some of you might not like the black background that it's actually been used on. I prefer it because it's my style of trading. However, if you did want to change it, it's very simple to do. Just double click and then use the drop down box and obviously select the color that you want, and obviously just re-click anywhere on the actual panel. We've got the color of access scales and OHLC lines set to white, simply because we're trading on the black screen, right? So you want to make sure that you can kind of see all the information in white. Again, if you're changing the background color to say white, you might want to change this parameter to black. Okay, body of the color, you can change the candlestick. So bull candlestick simply means the buy candlesticks, which is the white candlesticks which you can see here, and then you've got the color of the bear candlestick, which is the sell candlesticks, which you can kind of see here moving on the GBP CAD. Okay, next thing we've got risk management settings. Okay, very important. This when I first compiled this EA, it was one of the main factors that I had to make sure that was there in this particular EA, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It had to be right for me and for my traders. So let me explain. We've got the first thing here, which is a normal stop loss. I've set that to false. Now the reason why that is because, let's just use an example, right? Let's say we did have the false, it's set to true. Your stop loss will be placed here above the high, and obviously the entry or the trade will then go ahead However, sometimes that doesn't always work the way you want it to work, right? So what we've done is that we've included a trailing stop loss, which is actually set to true. And this trailing stop loss, what actually happens, so say for example you've placed an entry, so the trade must have come up to, say for example, let's get rid of this and let's do some annotation. So say for example the market on the GBP CAD, should I make this a bit bigger? Let's just blow this up. Let's say that price came all the way down here. Let's make it zoom in a little bit. There you go. Say price came all the way down to this zone here, the untested demand zone, and let's say it places order right here. Okay, that's your entry. Stop loss will be here. So we have a normal stop loss, okay, but this is how it would work. Now just say that the take profit zone would be over here. Okay. Now as this trade, so as the market, okay, let's just say for example it's down here. As the trade has gone up, okay, so it's been bought, it's gone up, what would happen with the stop loss? It would actually hop in front of your entry zone, okay, which is here, and it will actually start trailing it around about 10 pips or so. So it will keep trailing it till it gets its take profit. Now, however, if it doesn't make it to its take profit, and let's say for example that the trade actually made it like to the supply zone here, okay, most cases with a lot of EAs, what would happen? It would actually come back down and then take out your stop loss and then obviously close the trade. With the smart thing with this EA, it actually trails it up, okay, so that means it's in profit. Imagine your stop loss in profit. This will be simply in profit, and then if the market happens to decide to come down and try to kind of go back down towards this demand zone, it will actually clip your stop loss, but then your stop loss will be in profit. Okay, so it's a win-win. Okay, very, very, very important feature we had to include there, guys, just to focus on the preservation of capital rather than gaining capital. Okay, so important. Manual trading, automated trading is the same thing. So I've just got back up here the actual parameters again. So obviously just explained obviously how the trailing stop loss works, obviously the pip count, so you can change that from 10 if you want. We just prefer to use it as a standard 10, so that means it will trail the market price by 10 pips, so follow it 10 pips behind the actual market price. Okay, so if the price does come back down, it will clip it and obviously you would make profit. Now the step is set at 1. There is no more steps. The reason why that is first in, first out EA, so there will be no more additional entries. It's 1 entry in, 1 entry out. Okay, so for example, if the trade doesn't go into profit and it does go straight into your stop loss, you'll be out the trade. That's it. No more entries. That's the reason why we use a range of assets to make sure that you have as much possible entries throughout the day, within the time frame as well. I mean, it's very, very important to be trading at the right times, not just any point of the market, which is why we've got the support group and the support network to make sure that everybody knows exactly what they're doing and when they should be doing it. Next thing, we're going to look at the take profit settings. Okay, again, if you did want to change it from the normal take profit settings, you can do, but we've set it at true and we've set it at 30 pips. So that's 30 pips away from your entry. So for example, it would be something like this, and that would look like this on your chart. So let's just use GBP CAD. Let's say that we took the entry from this zone here. 30 pips is there we go. So that's roughly 30 pips or so, which is roughly around here. So you can see the move isn't that big in terms of how far it is. So if you did want to somewhat increase it, you're more than welcome to, but we like to take the average of a move, and the average of a move is generally 30 to 50 pips in terms of obviously market movement for profit. Okay, so carrying on, as you guys know, profit, very, very self-explanatory. Scout mode is something I need to explain. Now, for example, if we had this feature put in here because we want to make sure that we can kind of stage our trades in the most efficient way as possible. So for example, we've got take profit of 0.0, that's in pips, and then we've got the percentage just beneath it. So these two are closely related, or in fact they're the same. Is this one recognizes it as a percentage and one recognizes it as pips. Now because every asset is measured in different ways, so different pips mean different amounts. So for example, you could be trading sterling pairs, they'll have their separate pip count. You would be trading the yen pairs, which would be completely different, and then you might be trading indices, which would be completely different. Every asset have got their own pips. So for example, we could show you like an average move of let's load up an indice. So let's grab the US 500 for example, or the US 30. I feel like the US 30 is an asset to trade in general. And let's have a look at the specs. I think the specs actually will tell you a lot more about the asset. So let's go down to specifications and let's just widen it up a little bit. So you guys can see it's obviously a 1-digit asset, and you can kind of see the minimum contract size, etc., tick value, blah 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 blah, all the boring stuff. But what I was actually looking for is the actual how they actually measure it. Nevertheless, okay, you can see the decimal point is completely different in terms of obviously where it's based on here. Okay, so this is a 5-digit broker. Over here you can see where the point decimal on the GBP or the CAD is different, so the pips will be measured completely different from this asset to this asset. So let's see an average move, take that down. So that's roughly, this is around 30 pips. Okay, so it's very very short. Now if we measure 30 pips on the GBP AUD, 30 pips looks like this. See, there's a huge difference between what I've just shown you and what I'm measuring now. Now, you know, if you're using the EA and you're using the settings, so let's go back to the settings, and let's just say, example, you are using this parameter as the pip, you're going to have to adjust this for every different asset that you use. So we rather use the percentage here. So this is the reason why we've had this inbuilt. So you can set the take profit scalp mode to take profit at 25%. It will then release 25% of its equity. And then it might then go on to make sure that it goes towards 50%. When it reaches 50% range, it will release 50% of its equity. So it's basically selling bits or buying bits off of the actual position that you have. So for example, if you're in a sell position, it will release 25%, 50%, 75%, and then 100%, and then you're out the trade. Okay, so it's almost just like stages. So I want to show you graphically what that means. So let's just use GBP AUD again. I'll show you just GBP CAD because we've got some of the lines up there already. Let's just say you've taken a trade from this area here. Let's say that you're trying to target, the main target is over here. I want you in your head to split this up into 24 quarters. Okay, so let's say the first quarter is where the existing line is. Let's say 50% might be here. And let's just move this up a little bit so it makes a bit more sense. There we go. And let's say the 75% is here. So what the actual EA does is that as it's moving up, okay, it's going up here, 25% will be knocked off. So say for example you've gone in with a 1.0 lot, you have 75 pence left on the trade, then 50 pence left on the trade, and then 25 pence left on the trade, and then 0 until you reach your full target. Does that make sense? So it's almost if you're selling part of your which many people don't know how to do in the platform actually, but you're actually selling part of your position as you're making your way towards the actual take profit zone. So you're becoming less risk and you're taking profit at the same time. So very very smart feature there, guys. Okay, back on it. So that is pretty much explained. Any obviously, if you need any clarity on that, feel free to DM me. Again, you guys are getting full support within the group to make sure that these are fully explained and obviously using to your full potential. We've also got the indicator settings. Okay, not important at all. It's just that we've got the 20 SMA, 200 SMA. Sometimes it's displayed on the actual chart, depending on obviously what we're looking at. So let's put this back. Actually, let's put this back here. I don't want to mess around with that. So you've got the 20 SMA, which is the fast period SMA. It's not used within the actual system itself, so it's not something that you need to particularly use. This is something that might be visual, depending obviously if you want them set on a chart or not. Okay, and you've got the 200 SMA just beneath it. So when I like to manual trade, I like to look at both of these indicators to let me know where I'm at in the trade and what's likely to happen next. We've got show weak zone set to true. So weak zone, you can see here, weak demand. It won't trade from this area, unfortunately. It'll just be one of these areas that just recognize on the chart, as you can see here as well, that it knows that it's a weak demand. So when price does revisit, it won't take the trade there. So it's just for your recollection that it might actually break through. You can actually you can actually show the untested zones, which is what we're looking for. Okay, when you're trading with this EA, you want to make sure that your untested zones are pretty much displayed. So if we go over to, let's use sterling, or better yet, let's use, because I haven't got it actually loaded on sterling, I need to put it back on here actually, which I will do. Let's use GBAUD. You guys can see we've got the untested demand zone down here, which would be in kind of bold or luminous green. When price does revisit, a trade will be triggered. It won't be triggered in these zones, even though it's proven. It's still weak because it's been hit quite a few times, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So the chances of this price actually breaking through will be very, very high, and we most likely react off of this demand zone down here. Okay, the untested demand zone. Again, guys, this is trend lines that I've drawn in, and the benefits of being of part of the group simply because those zones, or those trend lines, I beg your pardon, will actually let you know what likelihood or the direction of the actual market is actually moving. Okay, so that will be all plotted up for you and charted for you and sent into the group. So let's go back over to the actual setting. Okay, so we're here, and let's scroll down. There we go. So that's just been explained. So the untested setting or untested zones will be obviously set to true because that's what it trades from. Shown turquoise is not important at the moment. The fuzz factor is important. Now this depends on obviously how wide the zone is. So for example, we've got a zone of 0.075. These will determine how wide these zones are. We've set it at this as the standard point simply because we don't want to increase it. If we did increase it, we would run into other zones, and that's not something we want to do because inevitably what would happen is that the trade or market will come down and trade from a zone that we don't want. So we set it at 0.75 for the fuzz factor. If you did want to change it, it's totally up to you. Again, just double click it and then away you go with that. You can change the zones from solid, so from see-through, so you can see the boxes are not filled here. You can change them to true, and then they will be filled. I'll show you an example of that. Just give me a second. So you can see here, these are the filled ones. Now these zones are very, very difficult to see. That's the reason why we've left them see-through. But if you did really want to see them in terms of obviously, if you did have a different back color, chart and candlesticks, then you probably want to have these filled. Okay, so that's a bit of information there for you that you could possibly use. So we're back. Right. So again, very self-explanatory. We've got line width, we've got design zone. So obviously we've just explained obviously solid set to true with this particular one. On the one before, it's not set to true, so which is set to false. Okay, so you can set that to false. We've got the line width obviously being 1, so that means the actual line that runs around the center of the actual EA, the center of the box and around it. We've also got the shift obviously set to false. That means where the words are displayed. Let's set a test shift for. Again, leave it as probably standard. Zone merge set to true. Zone extend. Again, it's totally up to you if you want to use these. We prefer to leave it as true. Zone alerts. So if you want stuff coming to your mobile phone, basically set that thing to true, and it'll let you know that trade's been triggered. And then you'll be fully alerted on your mobile or on the actual laptop or PC that you're using at the time by using zone alerts pop-up set to true, zone alert sounds set to true, and zone alert wait seconds. It's dependent on you, on obviously what you want to do. If you want it set at 300 seconds, you're more than welcome to, but it does get quite annoying, so you might want to turn that off, depending if you want to be alerted for a trade. Okay. Again, very self-explanatory stuff down here. You've got text size set to 8. If you can't really see this, then obviously you might want to increase the font or increase the size of the actual lettering. You can change the actual text font if you want to. A lot of the text fonts are found in Microsoft Word. You can copy and paste different types of fonts directly into this platform from Microsoft Word back into here. We've got it set at Korean New. It's easy to read and easy legible. Text color set to white. Again, if you're using a white background, not the smart thing to do, so you want to probably change it over to black, etc., or any other kind of darker color where you can actually see the writing on the right hand side there. Supply and demand names, obviously demand name will be set as demand and supply name will be set as supply, so you can see demand here, supply there. Retests, and obviously set as being as retest, so you can say here this has had one retest, you see drop here, another retest, and huge drop. What else we got? Oh, and it's basically just the zone colors really. So you've obviously the main ones to pay attention to is the luminous green, which I was mentioning before, which you guys can see down here. Okay, and then you've got the yellow, okay, which is untested supply. Very, very important too. Very, very important colors. So these are ones that the EA will actually be trading from. Okay, I hope it's helped, guys. Obviously me explaining, and obviously you guys seeing. I hope that's helped, guys, and you fully understood exactly what the EA is actually about. Any questions, feel free to message me. I'd be more than happy to help you with them. The main thing is to kind of understand that the EA is a standalone product. However, it also requires work behind it for the EA to work. And this is the reason why we're always constantly monitoring positions, reason why we post chart updates, we monitor the trend. There's so much different things that come into conjunction with actually using the EA rather than just using it, setting it and letting it run. Which is very, very, very important for you as a trader in terms of your development, making sure you understand market structure, etc., and obviously supply and demand. So again, any questions, you guys know where I am. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.